Revealed. The incredible warning from a homeless boy that transformed my life in 30 days. Ethan was suffocating in his apartment. The towering buildings of Chicago loomed over him, casting long shadows that felt like chains wrapping around his chest. Day after day he scrolled through endless job listings on his phone, each alert a cruel reminder of his unresolved dreams. His heart raced with anxiety, overshadowed by his student debt that loomed as large as the skyline. A freelance graphic designer, creativity poured from his veins, yet his art felt unseen, lost in the sea of unrecognized talent. On one fateful Saturday, desperate to feel a sense of purpose, he decided to volunteer at a local soup kitchen. When he stepped into the bustling kitchen, the warm aromas of stew and freshly baked bread enveloped him like a comforting hug. It was there, amidst the clatter of utensils and the laughter of those sharing meals, that he met Sam, a boy of 12 with bright eyes that sparkled with determination. "Hey, mister, want to help me serve this?" Sam grinned, already holding a ladle like a knight wielding a sword. Ethan couldn't help but smile back. As they served the steaming plates, Sam shared stories that gripped Ethan's heart. He spoke of nights spent under bridges, but also spoke about community, the friendships forged in hardship, the lessons learned from sharing that went beyond hunger. Sam's wisdom shone through his struggles like a beacon in the dark. "Hard work pays off, you know?" Sam said, his tone surprisingly mature. "You just gotta keep pushing. Never lose hope." Those simple words struck Ethan deep. They echoed values his parents had fought to instill in him, values that had dimmed beneath the weight of their financial struggles. Sam was so young yet so profound. Ethan found himself thinking about Sam long after they parted ways, his heart swelling with inspiration. Fueled by their budding friendship, he dove back into his graphic design work, no longer just for money but to honor the tenacity that Sam embodied. But then, just when things began to brighten, his father walked in unannounced, the heaviness of his presence filling the apartment. Old wounds opened wide. Their conversations swiftly descended into a painful mess, revealing years of unspoken grievances about success and what it really meant. The warmth Ethan felt with Sam felt overshadowed by the coldness left by his father's contempt for his unconventional path. "Why aren't you doing something real?" his father snapped, bitterness wrapped in disappointment. Ethan could feel his chest tightening, the clash of their worlds oppressive. The idea of sharing his connection with Sam in hopes of lifting them both seemed to loom ominously ahead, but those ideas brought worries of backlash from both community and family. Was he using Sam? Could he possibly betray the bond forged with sincerity? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With Sam's wisdom guiding him, Ethan started aiming for something more. But the shadows of doubt stirred within him. Tensions rose with each passing day as he wrestled with the question of ambition versus loyalty. As the pressure mounted from his father and now, potentially from a community he admired, he stood at a fork in the road, caught between the weight of expectation and the glitter of inspiration. Ethan pondered this profound lesson from Sam. Was the American dream worth sacrificing true friendship? What did it truly mean to be a man of integrity? The heart-wrenching choice hung in the air as he wrestled with these truths, the stakes too high as he contemplated his next move. Ethan stood in the dim light of his living room, his heart racing and his mind swirling. His father's words echoed in his ears, heavy with disappointment. "Why aren't you doing something real?" It stung like a slap across the face. Was art not real? Was his passion, his drive for something greater, just a fantasy? His fingers hovered above the keyboard, his design software open but abandoned. He wanted to create, to unleash the ideas swirling in his mind, but the knot of anxiety tightened. The bright eyes of Sam flickered in his memory, how they shone with hope despite his struggles. It was a stark contrast to the shadows of doubt looming over Ethan. But was it even possible to uplift both himself and Sam without the risk of causing pain? At that moment, Ethan felt torn. Should he just bury the friendship he cherished? Would it be easier to focus solely on his work and forget about the boy who had inspired him? With a deep breath, he pushed aside the doubts. Sitting down, he opened a new document and titled it, A New Beginning. But what did that mean? He decided to sketch a plan around Sam. With his artistic skills and Sam's authenticity, they could collaborate to create something that would showcase the beauty of their community. A project that could raise awareness and funds. But this would require trust, something Ethan experienced as a fragile commodity. Would Sam understand, or would he feel exploited? The days moved swiftly. Ethan spent hours perfecting his designs, pouring his soul into the project. He envisioned vibrant posters decorated with drawings and heartfelt stories from Sam and other kids who knew hardship. Each stroke of his pen felt invigorating, as if he was breaking free from chains he never realized were there. Then came the moment he dreaded, reaching out to Sam. Uncertainty bubbled in his chest as he prepared himself. What if he crossed a line? What if he scared Sam away? He fumbled through his phone, staring at the blank message screen. He needed to trust. He needed to invite him into this dream. Just as he was about to hit send, his phone rang. It was Sam. "Hey, Ethan." The boy's voice was upbeat, full of the same energy that had initially drawn Ethan in. "I was hoping you'd answer. I've been thinking about you." There was a warmth in Sam's tone, a brightness that shattered the clouds circling Ethan's mind. "Hi, Sam," he replied, his voice softer, yet filled with a sense of hope. "I've been working on something I'd like to share with you. It's about us." The line went silent for a moment, and then Sam's laughter burst through. "I love us projects. I'm in. What do you need me for?" Ethan beamed, relief washing over him. "I want to showcase our stories, your story. What it's like out there. I think we can create something beautiful together." As the two spoke about ideas and dreams, Ethan felt a weight lift from his shoulders. Sam's enthusiasm was contagious, fueling Ethan's courage. This was more than a project, it was a partnership based on mutual inspiration, a true collaboration. Yet, even as he basked in the excitement of their budding venture, another shadow loomed. It was the unspoken truth that tethered him to his father's expectations. Could he truly pursue this vision without risking everything he built within that fragile relationship? Ethan turned to the window, gazing at the vibrant city outside. A flicker of determination ignited within him. He would find a way to honor both his aspirations and Sam's voice. As they began planning their first community event together, Ethan caught a glimpse of the road ahead and felt a blend of hope and fear. Would embracing this path lead to rejection or acceptance from his father, the one whose approval he secretly craved? His thoughts danced with excitement and dread as he realized that the answer might not come easy. But one thing was clear, he had to try. The phone call ended, and as Ethan gazed at the city skyline glowing in the dawn light, he knew that every step forward would require bravery. His heart raced with both fear and excitement. How far could this journey take him, and what secrets lay waiting in store? What would Ethan discover as he ventured deeper into this new realm of artistry, friendship, and self-discovery? Ethan woke early the next morning, his thoughts still buzzing with the plans he had forged with Sam. The sun peeked through the curtains, casting strips of warm light across his room. He could hardly contain his excitement as he imagined their community event coming to life. Would they really be able to capture the hearts of everyone in the neighborhood? His phone buzzed on the nightstand. It was a message from Sam. "Ready to brainstorm? Let us meet up at the park." Ethan grinned, heart racing with anticipation. He quickly dressed and grabbed his sketchbook, determined to show Sam his ideas. The park was nearby, filled with the smells of fresh grass and blossoming flowers. It was a sanctuary, a place where laughter mingled with the rustling of leaves, perfect for what they were trying to create. When Ethan arrived, he spotted Sam sitting on a bench, his bright smile a beacon of energy. "Hey, I can't believe we're finally doing this," Sam exclaimed, jumping up to greet him. His enthusiasm was infectious, and Ethan felt the weight of his doubts lift just being around him. They settled on the grass, surrounded by the distant sounds of children playing and dogs barking. Ethan opened his sketchbook, revealing vibrant ideas, posters, art installations, stories that echo the struggles and triumphs of their community. Sam's eyes lit up as he flipped through the pages. "I love this one. The colors are so alive." Sam pointed at a drawing depicting a street scene filled with people, and for a moment, Ethan felt a swell of pride. We can ask people to share their stories. It could be like a mural made of memories. Exactly. Stories are powerful, Ethan replied, feeling more energized than he had in ages. They spent hours brainstorming, laughter filling the air as ideas tumbled out: an art show, a storytelling night, maybe even a fundraiser. Each concept they created felt like a brick laid in a foundation for something monumental. But as the sun began to set, casting long shadows across their sketches, a nagging thought tugged at Ethan's heart. What if this didn't work? What if people didn't care? He had already experienced rejection in past projects, and it left scars that were not easy to ignore. Ethan? Sam's voice pulled him from his thoughts. You seem quiet. What's up? Taking a deep breath, Ethan hesitated. I want this to be meaningful. What if nobody shows up? What if my dad finds out and hey? Sam reached over, placing a hand on Ethan's arm. What we're doing is important. It's not just about approval, it's about people connecting. You and me were doing it for them, for us. Ethan's heart bolted. Sam's belief cut through his fear like a beacon of light. Could he truly view their friendship and project through that lens, as a shared purpose rather than a burden? They decided to launch a social media campaign to spread the word about their project. Together, they crafted heartfelt posts filled with stories of resilience and hope, inviting the community to share their own experiences. Later that night, wrapped in a blanket of uncertainty, Ethan felt the weight of courage pressing against him. What if this was the moment he could bridge the gap between his art and his father's expectations? Each share and like felt like a small victory, but the real test was still ahead. The day of their community event. As the days passed, excitement built. Yet, when the morning of the event dawned, anxiety churned like an approaching storm. Sam stood beside him, unwavering as people began to gather at the park. Are you ready? He asked, his eyes sparkling with determination. I'm scared, Ethan admitted, his heart hammering against his chest. Me too. But that just means it matters. As they exchanged smiles, Ethan knew that this was just the beginning. The journey ahead was filled with uncertainty, yet the promise of connection shimmered like sunlight through the trees. With a deep breath, Ethan took a step forward, ready to face the crowd. But just as they reached the stage, a familiar voice boomed from the other side of the park: his father. Ethan, what are you doing here? Ethan's heart sank. What would happen now? Would he finally face the truth he had been dodging? Ethan froze. Panic surged through him like a jolt of electricity. His father's voice, stern and unmistakable, sliced through the excitement surrounding the event. Suddenly, the vibrant chatter of the crowd faded, replaced by the pounding of his heart in his ears. Sam glanced at Ethan, his brow furrowing. You okay? I don't know, Ethan stammered, looking toward his father who was cutting through the gathering. With each step, Ethan felt a cloud of dread hover over him. What was his father doing here? The moment felt surreal. People around them turned, their faces shifting from curiosity to concern as they caught a glimpse of Ethan's father. He carried an air of authority that contrasted sharply with the relaxed atmosphere of the park. The color drained from Ethan's cheeks. Ethan! His father called out again, louder this time. Get over here. Ethan felt like a deer caught in headlights. Every instinct screamed for him to run, to hide, but Sam stood firm beside him. You can do this. Just be honest, Sam whispered, squeezing his shoulder. Taking a deep breath, Ethan nodded. Okay, let us see what he wants. As he walked toward his father, each step felt heavier than the last. The crowd's murmur surrounded him like a tidal wave, but he focused only on his father. Dad, what are you doing here? Ethan managed, frustration bubbling beneath the surface. His father's expression was unreadable, a mix of annoyance and confusion. You're supposed to be at home, focusing on your studies. What's all this? He gestured broadly at the park, taking in the booths, the people mingling, and the art displays being set up. It's a community event, Dad. Sam and I want to connect with people. Share stories. A waste of time. His father shot back. You're wasting your talent on frivolities. You have a future to think about, son. This isn't it. Ethan felt his stomach twist. The words felt like daggers, sharp and unforgiving. All the months of planning, the joy of creating, the hope of connecting, it all crashed down around him. Enough. Sam interjected, stepping between them. Ethan has a right to express himself. You don't own his dreams. The confrontation surprised Ethan. He watched as Sam stood up to his father, his face set in determination. The crowd around them shifted, some faces nodding in agreement, others looking uncertain. Sam, don't, Ethan urged, feeling the heat rise in his cheeks. Was this really happening? This wasn't just about him anymore. It affected Sam too. But Sam didn't back down. Maybe if you truly understood your son, you'd see that this event is important to him. He is trying to reach out to make a difference. His father opened his mouth as if to counter, but the crowd began to murmur faster, voices of support rising around them. Ethan felt the heat in his chest evolve into something else, a flicker of courage amidst the anxiety. Maybe this was the moment he had been waiting for to speak up for himself. This matters to me, Dad. It matters to everyone here. He gestured to the bustling scene, the art they had created, and the people gathering. It's about community, about sharing. Ignoring him, his father snapped, "You're throwing your life away." The tension between father and son crackled like a storm. Ethan's breath hitched. Would he back down or stand firm? As he faced the crowd, strangers, friends, and Sam, the weight of their support became clear suddenly. From the back of the gathering, a young boy with untamed hair and tattered clothes stepped forward. He looked up at Ethan, expression earnest. "I'm here because of your post. I wanted to share my story. That's what this is about, right?" The crowd quieted, all eyes now on both Ethan and the boy. His heart raced, but he couldn't ignore the truth in the boy's words. Was this the connection he had envisioned? Ethan secretly wished for clarity in the chaos surrounding him. Would confronting his father bring the answers he needed, or would it tear him apart? All around him the air was thick with anticipation. The weight of his father's disapproval felt like a cast shadow, but the boy's presence shimmered with promise and hope. The crowd was alive, and so was Ethan's determination. "It is about connection. It is about change," he declared, feeling emboldened. As Sam stood unwavering by his side, Ethan understood that the path ahead would demand everything from him. Daring to challenge his father's expectations, he faced the world and sought the truth he had never dared to voice. Maybe today is just the beginning. But before he could gather his thoughts, the boy continued, revealing a hidden secret that would change everything. Would Ethan be ready for what was about to unfold? The boy's voice trembled slightly as he spoke, pulling Ethan from the noise of the crowd. "I wanted to tell my story. It's about finding a place where I belong. Where we all belong." There was something raw in his words, laced with a vulnerability that caught everyone's attention. Silence took over, wrapping around them like a thick blanket. "What do you mean?" Ethan asked, feeling both nervous and intrigued. The boy took a shaky breath, his hands clenching into fists at his sides. "I'm homeless. I've been moving between shelters and streets for a while now. But your post? It made me think, maybe, just maybe, I could share my art too. It helps people see me. It connects me to something bigger." As the boy spoke, Ethan could see the shadows under his eyes, the determination mixed with fear. His heart thudded painfully in his chest. Here was someone whose experience mirrored the fears he'd been wrestling within himself. Suddenly, the burden of his own struggles felt less isolating. The boy was telling his truth, and in doing so, he was giving Ethan permission to voice his. "Art saved me," the boy continued, looking out at the growing crowd. "It turned my pain into something beautiful. Maybe I can help others like you've helped me." Ethan's mind spun. The boy was right. Art had meant everything to him too. It was the thread weaving through his own tangled emotions and fears, and now he was seeing the bigger picture, a shared experience, a shared heartbeat through creativity. He stepped closer to the boy, his heart racing. "Can I paint alongside you? Maybe we could do something together," Ethan offered, his voice breaking slightly at the edges. "We could show others how art can bring us together." A spark lit up the boy's eyes, a glimmer of hope. "Really? You mean it?" The crowd began to buzz again, a wave of murmurs rippling through as people exchanged glances, eyes wide with newfound interest. They wanted to be a part of something bigger than their own worries. Suddenly, Ethan found himself standing taller, the weight of his father's disapproval easing just enough to allow light in. He turned to face the onlookers, determination swelling in his chest. "This isn't just about me or my father's expectations. It's about embracing who we are together. A cheer rippled through the crowd. Sam's face lit up with pride as he clapped Ethan on the back. The boy beamed, his earlier doubt fading as he felt the warmth of the moment embrace him. But even amidst the hope and excitement, Ethan's father stood stone-faced, arms crossed tightly across his chest. He looked like an unyielding mountain amid a shifting sea, and the sight sent a shiver down Ethan's spine. "Do you really think this will solve anything?" his father called out, voice cutting through the moment like a knife. "You're just a boy playing pretend." Ethan's heart raced at his father's words, but this time he didn't feel small. He felt the crowd's energy folding around him, strengthening his resolve. "Ardesn't pretend," he shouted back, his voice ringing with passion. "It's real a lifeline. It changes lives." As Ethan looked back at the boy, who nodded eagerly as if to say that the dream of creation of change was now real, he knew there was no turning back. But he also realized that the conflict with his father was far from over. With the community rallying behind them and the air electric with anticipation, Ethan felt propelled toward something unknown yet exhilarating. This wasn't just a challenge, it was a chance to carve a new path. "Let us show everyone what we can do together," Ethan called, feeling a swell of excitement that made hair stand on the back of his neck. But the underlying question loomed: was standing up to his father about to open a floodgate of conflict? Would his father fight back even harder now that he was being challenged? As Ethan faced the uncertain horizon ahead, he knew bigger challenges awaited. And in the midst of cheering and applause, he took a step forward, heart pounding, ready to embrace whatever came next. What would be the price of this newfound courage? Ethan could feel the heat rising from the crowd, a collective pulse of hope and anticipation. The boy beside him, still buzzing with the energy of the moment, stepped forward with a confidence that was contagious. With every cheer and clap, Ethan's conviction grew stronger. But what did this mean for him? Could he really change anything? His father's harsh words echoed in his mind, like thunder rumbling in a storm that refused to dissipate. Why did it matter so much what he thought? Deep down, Ethan longed for acceptance, but even more he craved freedom, the freedom to be himself and to create. "Let us set up a time," the boy suggested, eyes alight with ideas. "We can gather supplies and invite others to join under the bridge." Ethan nodded eagerly, the idea sparking within him like fireworks. "Yes, we can have a community paint day. Everyone can come together to express themselves." He glanced around, noticing figures in the crowd beginning to disperse, attendees stirred by what they had just witnessed. Something magical had just happened, and what if it continued to grow? A rush of excitement flooded through him at the thought of turning the energy from today into something tangible, lasting, and beautiful. Just then, Ethan's father stepped forward again, his displeasure manifesting into a hard line across his face. "You think playing with paint and a few brushes is going to fix anything? You're just a child. You don't understand the world the way I do." Ethan could feel the walls closing in around him. The excitement quenched slightly under his father's stormy gaze. But the boy, resolute beside him, took a breath and faced Ethan's father. "Art isn't about understanding the world perfectly. It's about feeling it. It connects us, fuels our voices, and shows our truths." A silence fell as Ethan's heart raced. The boy's passion filled the space between them, swirling in the air like the colors on a canvas. Even the crowd seemed to sense the tension, awaiting an answer that hung precariously on the edge of the moment. For Ethan, this was it. It wasn't just about the art. It was about family, identity, and self-acceptance. He felt like he was teetering on a tightrope stretched across a chasm of doubt. "I want to stop," he finally declared, each word lifting the weight of his father's expectations from his shoulders. "I need to do this. All of us do," Ethan, his father, warned, voice strained with a mix of frustration and incredulity. But it didn't matter. The boy grabbed Ethan's arm, squeezing it tight. "You're not alone in this. We've got each other's backs." A wave of warmth swept through Ethan, empowering him to stand taller. He tightened his chin up defiantly, no longer shrinking under the expectant pressure. "This isn't about whether you approve or not. It's about living authentically, about creating a community that thrives on connection." The crowd seemed to swell as his words hung in the air, people taking tentative steps closer to them, curious and hopeful. There was power in vulnerability, and somewhere deep within him, he felt a flicker of hope igniting once again. Still, Ethan was acutely aware that his father's view wasn't just going to vanish. This clash was only the beginning. What would it mean for his home? For their relationship? With the sun beginning to set, casting a golden hue over their gathering, Ethan recognized the shadows that loomed not just in the shape of his father but also within himself. He felt the urgency to create something meaningful, to prove the power of community, and he feared he might end up confronting more than just the disapproval of a father. The stakes were rising, and with it, new questions unfurled inside him. What if his father's disappointment turned into a battle he couldn't win? What if, in his quest to embrace his identity, he lost everything? With those thoughts swirling, he resolved to move forward even if it meant facing deeper fears. As night began to settle over the landscape, Ethan caught the determined glimmer in the boy's eyes, igniting an ember of courage within him. There was a shared journey ahead full of art, hope and unforeseen challenges, and he was ready to embrace it. But would the cost of bravery break him in ways he couldn't yet see? As the crowd began to buzz again, dreams swirling like colors in the sky, Ethan took one last deep breath, ready to dive into the unknown. What awaited them as they set this plan into motion? Only time would tell. Ethan stood in the gathering dusk, feeling the weight of the moment settle on his shoulders like a heavy cloak. The energy of the crowd buzzed around him, filled with a mix of excitement and trepidation. He could sense the shift in the atmosphere, yearning for something deeper, something more than just paint and brushes. People were hungry for connection, for a sense of belonging that transcended their individual stories, and somehow they were all drawn to him now. "Let us meet tomorrow after school," the boy suggested, his voice breaking through Ethan's thoughts. "We can draw up plans, design the space under the bridge, and figure out how to get the word out." "Yeah, right, the bridge," Ethan mumbled, anxiety creeping back in. The rundown structure felt more like a shadow than a canvas. Could it really be transformed from a neglected spot into a haven for expression? The thought was exhilarating and terrifying all at once. "I'll take care of the supplies," the boy chimed in, laughter ringing like bells in the cool evening air. "I know people who can lend us paint, brushes, even some snacks. And don't worry, I'll spread the word." Suddenly, the dim light illuminated the boy's face, and Ethan could see the determination etched there. It filled him with a spark of hope, igniting his own ambition. And yet his father's words clung to him like shadows. "You're just a child. You don't understand." Ethan shook his head, trying to clear the doubts. He could feel the crowd's growing support. They were leaning in, eager to hear more. So he raised his voice, channeling the energy from that earlier moment. "Let us turn that bridge into a gallery for everyone's voices. We can show what we feel, what we dream of." A wave of murmurs rippled through the spectators, encouragement mingling with skepticism. "And if anyone asks why we're doing this, we can tell them it's because we want a space where we can be free," he added, his heart racing at the thought. The boy beside him nudged him playfully. "You got this. We need to write it all down. A plan. A mission." But as the night deepened, Ethan couldn't shake the nagging fears. What if it ended up just a forgotten attempt? What if his father found out and put an end to it before it even began? The implications felt heavier than a mound of rocks lodged in his chest. Determined, Ethan pushed those thoughts aside. "Tomorrow after school. We'll make it happen." As they dispersed, Ethan stepped away, still buzzing. He felt both brave and fragile, soaring high and threatening to crash down. In the distance he could see the flickering lights of his neighborhood, a reminder of home yet. It felt more like a cage than a sanctuary now. What awaited him when he returned home? Would his father's disappointment cast a long shadow over the art of the bridge? He shook off the negative thoughts as he walked toward his house. It was a long path lined with memories and expectations, and as he arrived at the front door he took a deep breath. The moment he stepped inside, his heart sank a bit more. The air was thick with unspoken tension. His father sat in the living room, a hard look on his face, not disapproving but alert, as if he'd been waiting. "What are you up to, Ethan?" His father's voice was steady but held an edge that made Ethan's pulse quicken. He hesitated, unsure if he could share the truth of the day of dreams and bridges and community. Should he open up about everything that swirled in his heart? "Just some ideas for school," Ethan replied, the lie feeling heavy on his tongue. But before his father could dig deeper, something flickered in the back of Ethan's mind. What if this moment could change everything? What if this was the chance to bridge not just the space under the bridge but the gap between him and his father? In that instant, everything felt uncertain. Could his creative journey soothe the storm at home? Would he find courage in conversations? And would those lead him to peace? As the moonlight trickled through the window, Ethan stood rooted, heart racing, knowing he had to choose. Keep quiet or embrace the risk of being who he really was. Ethan felt a weight settle in his chest as he faced his father. This was the moment he'd been dreading and hoping for all at once. Could he dare to share his dreams? Could he open up that door between them, even just a crack? His father tensed, leaning forward slightly in his chair, almost impatient. Ideas for school? His voice was calm, but Ethan sensed a storm brewing just beneath the surface. Yeah, Ethan replied, anxiety knotting his stomach. Just projects. Some stuff for art class. We're supposed to find a way to express ourselves. Express ourselves? His father's eyebrow shot up, a flicker of skepticism in his gaze. Like those murals on the walls around town? Those are just vandalism, Ethan. You need to focus on real responsibilities. A rush of thoughts overwhelmed him. But what if I told you it's about more than that? What if it's a way to connect? To bring everyone together? His father's expression hardened. You're talking about a bridge now? Like that rundown place? It's dangerous down there. Dangerous? Ethan shot back, the frustration bubbling up. We could make it beautiful. We could create something. Ethan, his father interrupted, voice low and firm. You're a kid. You need to understand that things don't work like that. Life isn't about chasing dreams. It's about being practical. Ethan's heart raced. Why couldn't his father see it? How could he explain that chasing dreams didn't mean abandoning reality? I get that, but can't we at least try? Just once? The silence grew thick, wrapping around them like a heavy fog. Ethan's breath hitched in his chest as he searched for something, any shred of understanding from his father. Look, I need you to understand, his father said, leaning back, eyes narrowing slightly. I worked hard to provide for you. I want you to have a future. I don't want to see you waste time. A bitter taste filled Ethan's mouth. It's not a waste. It's important. It's about feeling alive. About community. Suddenly, a voice intruded from behind them. What's going on? Ethan turned to see his younger sister, Chloe, standing in the doorway, her eyes wide. There was innocence in her expression. A delicate simplicity that temporarily diffused the tension. Nothing, Ethan said quickly, forcing a smile on his face, but even his own facade felt fragile. Chloe had always been his light, his reason to fight against the dark clouds gathering in their home. But his father wasn't about to back down. There are rules, Ethan. You can't go running off doing whatever you please just because it sounds fun. Ethan felt frustration boiling beneath the surface again, but he took a deep breath. This wasn't just about him anymore. Chloe's future was tangled in this mess. And maybe, just maybe, his bridge could give her something bright to hold on to. What if I invite everyone to help? Volunteers, art enthusiasts. It could shine a light in our neighborhood. Would that soften his father's heart? Would that break through the wall? For a moment his father seemed to consider it. But all Ethan could see were the lines of worry etched across his brow, the weight of years resting on his shoulders. Ethan, please, he implored quietly. Just take a chance on me. In that stillness the air felt charged with possibility. Just as hope flickered, his father's phone rang. The moment shattered. I have to take this, he said, indicating towards the hallway, his tone shifting quickly to businesslike. Ethan felt deflated as his father walked away. He realized that the moment he needed was slipping through his fingers. And yet there was still Chloe watching, waiting for him to say something. Then she spoke, her voice soft but steady. Can I help too? I want to paint. A spark ignited within him anew. This could be a chance not just to express himself but to truly connect with his sister, maybe even with his father in the end. Ethan knelt beside Chloe. Definitely. We'll make it ours. But even as excitement swirled in his chest, a question lingered. Would his father ever come around? Would he really take that leap into the unknown? With those thoughts in mind, Ethan squeezed Chloe's hand, vowing to keep pushing forward. Tomorrow was their day to begin. Where would that lead them next? The sun rose the next morning like the promise of a new beginning. Ethan stared out the window, anticipation bubbling in his chest. Today was the day to take the first steps toward his vision. He could almost see the bridge, vibrant colors splashed across the weathered wood, transforming it into a symbol of hope for their community. Chloe bounded into the room, bright-eyed and full of energy. "Are we really going to do it?" she asked, her voice ringing with excitement. Ethan nodded, his heart swelling. "Absolutely. We're going to create something amazing." They gathered supplies. Old paint cans from the garage, brushes, and even a few buckets. Each item felt like a piece of a dream in the making. As they worked together side by side, laughter filled the space, breaking through the tension that had hovered in their home for so long. "Can we paint a rainbow?" Chloe asked, her voice bright with enthusiasm. "A rainbow sounds perfect," Ethan replied, envisioning the waves of color dancing across the bridge. "But what if we let everyone pick a spot? Everyone can add something special." Her eyes lit up. "Like a community rainbow." Ethan beamed, feeling the electric charge of possibility. They set out to spread the word. Going door to door, they spoke to neighbors, explained the idea, and invited everyone to join. Some were skeptical, but many were curious. They could see the flicker of excitement rising in the eyes of a few. Maybe, just maybe, they could set something wonderful in motion. The day turned into a blur of energy and determination. Ethan felt lighter with each person who showed support, a patchwork of hands and hearts preparing to reshape the neighborhood. As they worked into the evening, exhausted yet exhilarated, Ethan could hardly believe the transformation happening around him. Laughter echoed from the once quiet bridge, conversation buzzing, colors splashing against the dull wood. When his father arrived home that night, a weariness etched in his features, Ethan's heart sank slightly. Would he see this change? Would he understand the joy that emanated from their little project? "Dad, you should come see," Ethan called, fear and hope warring within him. His father paused, giving Ethan a sidelong glance. "I'm tired, son. Just for a minute? Please." The words tumbled out, desperation creeping into his tone. Sighing, his father relented, following Ethan outside. As they approached the bridge, the light pouring from string lights made everything feel magical. Neighborhood kids splattered colors everywhere, laughing and creating together. "What is all this?" his father asked, confusion and disbelief mixing in his gaze. "Art. Community. Look what everyone is doing." Ethan's voice trembled with excitement. "You see? We're bringing it to life. Just like I said." But his father didn't seem convinced. He scanned the scene, jaw tightening as he processed it all. "Ethan," before he could finish, Chloe tugged at their father's sleeve, beaming. "Look at my rainbow, Daddy. It's bright and happy." His father's tough exterior shifted just slightly, eyes softening. "That's nice." There was a faint hint of a smile hidden within his words, but it didn't break free. Ethan's heart raced with uncertainty. Was it enough? Would the beauty they created bridge the gap between his dreams and his father's practicality? That night, Ethan lay in bed, the excitement still swirling within him, yet the shadows of doubt lingered. Was this enough to change his father's mind? Just as he began to drift into sleep, another worry sparked. What if they didn't have enough time before the reality of responsibilities set in? As dreams faded into the darkness, Ethan held onto a sliver of hope, an unwavering belief in bright tomorrows. Tomorrow would be a turning point, but would it lead to unity or more division? Ethan clung to the thought, anxious for the next step forward. Would they be able to truly bring their community together? The sun shone brightly on the morning of the big event, casting a warm glow over the bridge that had become a canvas of colors and stories. Ethan could hardly believe what had blossomed from that initial idea, a patchwork of hope, laughter, and community spirit. Ethan and Chloe were among the first to arrive. Outfitted with paintbrushes, they rushed to their designated spots on the bridge, buzzing with excitement. Each stroke on the wood felt like a step closer to healing, not just for the community, but for Ethan and his family as well. As neighbors began to trickle in, there was a palpable energy in the air, like electricity humming in anticipation. The sounds of laughter and chatter lifted Ethan's spirits, swirling around him like bright confetti. Children rushed past with paint-splattered hands, while adults gathered to socialize, many chuckling at their own messy attempts of artistry. Then amidst the crowd, Ethan caught a glimpse of Sam approaching. The boy's face was aglow with enthusiasm, holding a basket of art supplies. "Ready to go?" he exclaimed, radiating positivity. "I brought snacks too. Everyone needs energy for this." Ethan's heart swelled. "Let us do this." They set out to engage the crowd, encouraging everyone to share their stories alongside their art. Together they wove narratives of struggles, dreams, and community, bridging divides that had long existed. As the day unfolded, vibrant murals emerged, stories flowed freely, and connections deepened, transforming the bridge into a living testament to resilience. But amid the buzz, Ethan's heart was heavy with uncertainty. His father had not shown since he reluctantly visited the night before. Would he witness this celebration of community spirit? Would he understand its importance beyond a mere pastime? Just as Ethan pushed those doubts aside, a familiar voice echoed through the crowd. "Ethan." It was his father, emerging cautiously from the shadows, eyes scanning the colorful chaos of creativity. What's going on here?" Ethan's breath hitched as he turned to face him. "Dad, look at what we've created. Everyone is sharing their art and their stories just like I said." His father stood there, arms crossed, a furrowed brow etched across his face. The crowd had sensed his presence, glances shifting from Ethan's father to him, then back again. The anticipation was thick, the air buzzing with emotion. "Ethan," his father began, a mix of disbelief and concern alighting in his tone. "You really think this is worthwhile? These are just kids playing around." Ethan, feeling the weight of those words, took a step closer. "No, Dad. This is real. This is how we show who we are. Every brush stroke, every shared story, it means something to us." The crowd quieted, attention gravitating towards their exchange. A boy with untamed hair stepped forward. "Sir," he said, his voice trembling but full of conviction, "your son helped me see that I can share my story too. I'm homeless, but here, I feel like I belong." Ethan's father's demeanor shifted as he listened, confusion gradually dissolving into contemplation. "Everyone deserves a chance to be seen," Sam added, stepping by Ethan's side as if standing as a united front. "This isn't just about art. It's about connection and understanding. Look around, it's a community coming together." The crowd surged with support, murmurs of agreement rippling through as more neighbors encouraged the boy, sharing nods and smiles. Ethan felt a surge of hope as he watched his father's expression soften. It was a glimmer, but it was there. "Dad," Ethan said, finding his voice once more, "I want to create change, even if it's small. Will you stand with me in this?" His father took a hesitant step forward, uncertainty painted on his face, but slowly, a small smile began to form. "You really believe in this more than anything," Ethan affirmed, his heart racing with both fear and excitement. He needed his father to understand the power of community. He needed him to see how love and acceptance could transform lives. The warmth of the sun glinted off his father's demeanor. "Then let us make something real together." With the crowd buzzing behind them, Ethan felt buoyed by the presence of his father finally stepping into his world. Together, he echoed, feeling that this moment would linger in their hearts forever. As the festival progressed, Ethan caught sight of unforgettable scenes. People painting with joy, sharing stories, laughter ringing out, a wave of unity crashing over the past. He held Chloe's hand, feeling the warmth of her presence, and smiled at Sam, who was busy encouraging neighbors to express themselves with wild creativity. He noticed his father mingling, surprisingly engaging with the community, a subtle shift in his reluctance, now a tenderness that seemed to take root. Even Chloe clung to her brushes, bouncing with excitement, anticipation turning family struggles into a canvas of hope. As the sun dipped low in the sky, painting everything in brilliant hues, Ethan saw the smile stretch across his father's face, the sharp edges of doubt shifting into something more approachable, more loving. Ethan realized that sometimes it's about finding light in the darkness, even when faced with the weight of familial expectations. It was about embracing shared experiences, forging connections, and crafting a story that resonated profoundly within the heart of every person that gathered there. The bridge stood as a symbol, a testament to resilience, unity, and transformation. It had woven together lives, turned dreams into art, and created a community full of possibility. And as laughter resonated in the air around him, Ethan felt it deep within that this was just the beginning. Tomorrow was another opportunity to shine. An undeniable urge surged within him. This was the moment. You need to subscribe now to follow the journey ahead. Leave a like now because it fuels the fire for more stories that matter. Comment your thoughts and feelings about this incredible transformation. Share instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see the power of connection and creativity. Don't wait not even one more second. Show your support.